3 times a bridesmaid, never a bride in the duel, and Ryan Newman, former Daytona 500 winner. Ryan Preece in a Chevrolet, and Chris Buescher moves over to Ford.
Yeah, in row 6. Hard to believe Mark Truex Jr. is yet to win anything in a Cup car at Daytona, but oh so close at 2016 Daytona 500. And alongside him, Brad Keselowski looking to get that momentum going here early in 2020. But boy, the tools have not been his friend. Looking in row 7, rookie John Hunter Nemechek in his first dual start, and alongside a guy that's super strong on the super speedways, Ryan Blaney.
Austin Dillon, the 2018 500 winner, and Justin Haley is one of those must-race-in drivers. He timed in over the weekend, so he's guaranteed to be in the 500. That means Reed Sorensen is trying to race his way in, along with former 500 runner-up Bubba Wallace. Daniel Suarez has to race his way in. Quinn Houff has his first dual start after running a partial season last year. Chad Fincham is another car that must try to race in. And Joey Gase in the 51 takes up the 22nd and final spot.
Well, Mike, what do you say we dial up a 3-time dual winner, Denny Hamlin? Hey, Denny Hamlin, Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me?
Yeah, I do.
Now, Denny, you're not known to be exactly calm and patient in these types of races. We've seen you make some great moves, and we're counting on it. So tell us, what is your approach? How do you make sure you keep all those fenders on this car?
I mean, this race, typically you want to be a little bit more tame than say the Clash, where typically those cars are not backups for the 500. So of course I'd like to get a good finish, but mostly just trying to put my car in a lot of different places, trying to find pockets of air that I want to seek out on Sunday that I feel like my car will take off in. So I'll do it's kind of just more experimenting than anything, and then at the end you kind of want to get a good finish.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, and we're looking forward to going along for the ride. Thank you.
Denny Hamlin will roll off third. Looks like at least one more pace lap. Caution lights still on. Let's check on pit road. Jamie Little.
Well, Mike, if Ricky Stenhouse Jr. could have it his way, he will lead all 60 laps of this race. He wants to prove that his car doesn't just have raw speed, but that his car is a good race car as well, in the draft and not in the draft. But you have to keep in mind, he has to be careful. A wreck tonight could mean the difference between starting on the pole for the Daytona 500 or dropping to the back and starting in the rear. Regan Smith?
Well, Jamie, Jeff just alluded to the fact that Mark Truex Jr. came oh so close in 2016 to winning this race, or to winning the Daytona 500. But this year, things are completely different. James Small now takes over as crew chief for Cole Pern. The return of engineer Jeff Jazzy Curtis to the team. These guys are loose. They feel good about things. And when I asked Martin if this car had any weaknesses before he climbed in, he said absolutely none. If we're running at the end, we will have a shot to win this race tonight.
Truex will start 11th. Ricky Stenhouse, the pole sitter, has elected the outside of the front row for the start of this one. Larry McReynolds, with this little rain delay, any change in what we're looking at or strategy?
Mike, you've known me for 20 years. I'm nervous about everything all the time. But the good thing is it did not rain that long and the cars did not sit that long. But the thing that all 43 of these crew chiefs are nervous about tonight, these cars, other than one qualifying lap on Sunday, they have not turned a lap since Saturday. Everybody's on pins and needles till we get these races started and they see what they got.
Remember, only 18 drivers were in the Clash. For everybody else, this will be their first green flag of competition. Here's your race analysis. 60 laps, 150 miles. Fuel window, 38 to 42 laps under green. Pit road speed, 55 miles an hour.
Start.
And here's Eric Almirola and his team.
All right, start.
Hopefully this one's a little less eventful than the Clash was. I would say the taste that's left in everybody's mouth, this should be pretty calm, I'm hoping.
All right, let's see if you start.
New crew chief Mike Bugaravich.
I was going to say, it might be calm. I do anticipate these drivers doing something different than they did in the Clash. I expect them to probably get in that outside lane, which I think is why Ricky Stenhouse Jr. chose the outside. And they're probably going to kind of get single file ride for a little bit until that green flag stop comes. And then it's going to get pretty wild because there's still some points on the line at the end of this race.
Lights are out atop the 2020 Toyota Camry TRD that leads the field here in Daytona. It'll make that sharp left turn. And then Ricky Stenhouse and this 22-car field will address themselves to the start line. And we'll see where everybody will line up in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. First of two duels, 60 laps. Green flag.
Big jump out there. Maybe this was the plan, was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. starts on the outside and then goes down to pick up his Chevy teammate in Chase Elliott.
Good point, Jeff. There's only 3 Chevys in the first half of the field. Stenhouse, Chase Elliott, and Ricky's new teammate, Ryan Preece.
You can see already Denny Hamlin getting pretty aggressive with the push to Chase Elliott's rear bumper.
And that paid off.
Oh, it certainly did. I mean, that's exactly what Chase wanted to see, because that gets him out and breaks him free of those 2 side-by-side cars of Eric Almirola and Denny Hamlin.
Ford's on the outside, Almirola with Logano and Buescher.
There's a big push from Joey Logano to Eric Almirola. Now that car might get a run, get to the outside. You see Denny Hamlin not settling for just settling in. I mean, he is being aggressive to the rear bumper of Chase Elliott.
Christopher Bell behind Hamlin's 11. Then Clint Boyer.
Not so sure how happy Chase Elliott is right now. Early in this race, these are the first laps of this race car really in the draft since qualifying at all. I mean, they have no idea how comfortable, how stable these cars are going to drive. And here's Denny Hamlin just pushing the rear bumper.
Now on your pylon at the bottom, the drivers in yellow are those trying to race their way into the 500. One of them will make the big race.
Well, look at all the sparks. This is what I love about racing at night. And it's very hard. There's Suarez making a big move to the outside. They've got the back of that car down for speed. It's really low, and so you're seeing a lot of sparks already.
Suarez versus Reed Sorensen from Georgia in the 27, and only one of them is going to make the 500.
Man, look at all those sparks. That's sort of the unknown, Mike, is you go through qualifying, you want to get your car down low for qualifying, but then you're going to raise it up, but you don't know exactly what the travels are going to be like in this race. It's the first time they've really run in these kinds of conditions, cool at night. Whoa, look at 3 wide back there in the back with Suarez trying to make it 3 wide.
Ryan Newman started 8th. He's dropped all the way to the back. And for the lead, Clint Boyer on the outside with help from Almirola and Logano in Fords. Chevys and a Toyota on the inside. Larry Mack.
Yeah, Mike, you see those 2 Chevrolet drivers. You see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47 and Chase Elliott in the 9. When I looked at the lineup for this dual race, it was actually fairly light on the Chevrolets. You see Ryan Preece there on the inside in that 47, Austin Dillon in the 3, and that's about the only top-running Chevrolet drivers that are in this first duel.
Kind of thin for the bow tie brigade. 7 overall in this race, but 4 of those at the back.
Right now, Mike, you see that outside lane. Forward. Watch for those Fords to line up, start working together, and make that outside line start to move. I got to say, I'm a little surprised. I really expected these drivers to try to get single file here early on. Maybe the opportunity just hasn't presented itself yet.
Clint Boyer in the 14 trying to bring this outside lane forward, but it's tough to gain any ground when you got a fast group on the bottom taking the short way around.
Yeah, and you've got those guys working pretty hard to keep that gap really tight between Chase Elliott and our leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And, of course, you got Denny Hamlin and the rookie, Christopher Bell. They're really keeping that pack tight, and that's why they're able to take the advantage of that bottom lane.
Boyer's group is backing up on the outside.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that because we saw going down the front straightaway the last lap by, and their bumpers were almost locked together as they were trying to push. Don't count out Ryan Preece in the 37 there down on the inside also. Another one of the Chevrolets. He is pretty consistent on these super speedways with quite a few top 10. So he knows how to get to the end of these races.
Has the best average finish on super speedways of any driver in the 500 field. Chevrolet out front. They have a new body this year with a new nose and a new tail, trying to gain increased downforce, which will pay off at maybe at many tracks other than Daytona and Talladega. I guess the big question here is it going to make bump drafting any easier for the Chevys than it was last year?
Well, and we've seen where the Chevys have had really good speed down here in Daytona and on the super speedways, but they usually really lacked in handling. They had a hard time holding on to those cars. That's where the Toyotas and the Fords have been really strong. But you bring up something important, those bumpers. They've made adjustments to the front and rear bumpers of these cars. I don't think they're still as good and as flat as the Fords, as pushers, and maybe even the Toyotas, but they have made improvements.
8 laps complete. Reed Sorensen in the race-in spot. Daniel Suarez right with him. And Chad Fincham are the 3 drivers trying to race their way in duel number 1.
And
here they are.
One of the questions I had was, what is Justin Haley going to do? He's locked in, but we all know that, he can still go out there and try to improve his starting position for the 500. Right now, he's out there. I don't know if he's taking any chances, but he's ahead of quite a few of these cars that are trying to race their way in.
Haley in the number 16 on the inside behind Austin Dillon.
And I thought I heard him earlier in the week, Mike, after qualifying, say, you know what, we can't afford to do anything that's going to get us in trouble with this race car. We're not going to be that aggressive, but so far he's right in the thick of it.
But Jeff, as long as we have 2 rows wide, how risky is this for somebody like Haley?
Well, right now, if you keep those gaps, I've been a little surprised how much I've seen drivers pushing already. That's risky. There's another move right there by Almirola pushing the 14 of Clint Boyer on the outside. That is risky. But if you keep the gaps and you don't really start pushing and shoving a lot, I think that it's pretty safe out there. You see Denny Hamlin dive into that outside lane. No, now they're going to take him 3 wide. This is not going to work out well for Denny Hamlin. He's going to go pretty far back here.
And the why of that is one of the cars you're going to have to beat. So why help Hamlin if you think he's got a good chance to beat you?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's one of the best on the super speedways, has one of the fastest cars. He's won 3 of these cars. I'm not counting him out because he's going to go pretty far back here. But absolutely, if I have a chance of putting Denny Hamlin to the back, I'm going to take advantage of it.
From our aerial coverage, let's have a look at what happened to Hamlin.
Well, we see Denny's running pretty comfortable in the 3rd spot. I think he saw that outside lane starting to form with some momentum. He really wanted to get up in front of the front bumper of Clint Boyer, but Clint thought otherwise and said, nope, I've got an opportunity and a run going. I'm going to go the outside. Right now, Denny Hamlin's hitting the steering wheel. He's pretty frustrated with that move.
Hamlin all the way back to 16th.
We saw what that did in the clash on Sunday to our leader, Mark Truex Jr. Let's see what happens with our leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
"14 laps complete in the first Blue-Green Vacations Duel on FS1.
Water temp. Check the water temp. Minus 30 on the water. Simple. Just tell me, keep track of it. Got debris on the grill. If the temperatures are good, we're good.
So obviously a little code talking about the temperatures in degrees there, and instead of actually giving the number to his competitors, he just gave kind of a reference where they start or where their target is. So far, it's cool at night here, getting a little bit lucky. And Larry, is that actual debris covering the actual opening that's not taped up?
Yeah, it is, Jeff. And, of course, these crew chiefs, they run as much tape as they possibly can. You can see it right there. I mean, that's almost over the entire opening, and you've already got it taped up for aerodynamic. But it's twofold, Jeff, and you know this. Yeah, when you get over 300 degrees, obviously that's when you get in a danger zone. But it's a pressurized water system. As long as you don't go above that 35 PSI on the pressure relief valve, as long as you don't do that, it's like your passenger car that's pressurized. Then it's not, you don't get in that much danger.
And Larry, that probably is what they're doing, is not paying attention to water temperature, talking about water pressure. So maybe that's the number that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was relaying to Brian Patty.
Well, Larry, most importantly, is this the engine they would have to run in the Daytona 500?
Yeah, you cannot change the engine, Mike. No longer can you do that. What you unload with is what you race in the 500. If you have to change, the penalty to the rear of the field. The good thing for this 47 car, here in about 2 to 4 laps, the window will open for that green flag pit stop I spoke about.
JTG Doherty leading more laps at Daytona than in any previous duel. Great for Jody and Tad Geschecter and NBA legend Brad Doherty, the owners of that team. Remember Doherty's number at UNC and on the Cleveland Cavaliers? He wore the number of his boyhood hero, who was Richard Petty.
Oh, yeah.
43.
Exactly, absolutely. And I know they wish they could have 43 on this car, but it's running like it's a 43 car out front right now.
Daniel Suarez up to 10th place, trying to race his way into the 500. They didn't show much speed on qualifying day. They've been hard at work since. But since qualifying, Austin Dillon right behind Suarez. Here's Dillon's radio.
I think it's a little too risky to get to 96 before we pit, but those are pretty good run to get on the backstretch. When he hits the brakes, that's when we need to take advantage of it.
Or just quarter panel, go to the bottom and come up.
Yeah, 10 more. I think we can do it.
So that's a move that we've seen become pretty popular here, where if you want to make a pass and do it by yourself, you get a run, you get up to their quarter panel, put your right front fender right there and sort of pull them back. And then you go into the corner, you dive low, and hopefully that creates a gap in this line of cars that you can slide up to. It's a little risky, but it is a good move if you execute it well.
So if the manufacturers pit on different laps when the pit window opens, who comes first?
Very good question. I mean, I kind of expected them, if you look at previous years, to already be on pit road. So a little surprised they're going a little further here in this particular race. But that's a great question, Mike. I'm really anxious to see. To me, it's not about who gets there first. It's who gets off of pit road first, because we've seen if you come off pit road ahead of your competitors, there's a good chance you might win this duel.
Well, there's a tip. I think the Toyotas are coming. They peel off down to the low side. There's 2 of the 4 in this race. You have Suarez, Truex, Bell, and Hamlin. Not this time.
Well, yeah, and that was actually Truex going to the inside of another Toyota, which is Christopher Bell. So I don't think if Truex was coming to pit road, I think all those Toyotas would have jumped to the bottom. Pretty impressed that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is still holding strong in that lead, not having to address all that debris. I mean, there cannot be much air.
I have probably been asking Ricky Stenhouse Jr. every corner of every lap, what is the temperature, what is the water pressure?
And what is the plan?
Yeah, he pulled down going into turn 3. I thought that was sort of the signal, hey, here we go, but nope, they're still out there on track.
Well, Larry, the further we run before making the pit stop, the less fuel you need, the less wear you're going to put on those tires in the second run here to the checkered flag. So is there an urgency to pit early?
Well, Mike, you're still going to need almost a full can of fuel, which is about 6 to 7 seconds. And that was the debate today as I talked to crew chiefs. If we've got to stay there that long, we might want to go ahead and do right side tires. But everybody has to be on the same page. That's the only way it works.
So the lap before, we saw Truex poke out, try to make a move. That time we saw Denny Hamlin go to the bottom. Not sure if those guys are just needing to get some clean air. Maybe they've got a little more tape. Maybe they're starting to see some heat, and they're just trying to get some clean, cool air to the nose. Now the three of Austin Dillon might try to make that move we talked about on Suarez, but he's not going to clear him.
It's time. Wind up out there.
I think I heard this time.
Absolutely. Yeah, looks like those Chevrolets down the bottom. All the Chevrolets in the back, too. So here come the Chevys.
You in the 9 right now.
Stenhouse and Elliott lead the Chevrolet contingent onto pit road at lap 23. Regan.
Well, Austin Dillon finds his pit stall right now. His main goal for tonight is to get into a rhythm with his new crew chief and new spotter. So far, mission accomplished. Jamie.
Alan Gustafson told me it's not necessary to have to take tires on the 9. Meanwhile, the 47, you saw them just wipe the grill to get all that debris off. About 5 different pieces came off. No tires, just enough fuel for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
That's the story all up and down pit road. No tires, fuel only. And those 7 Chevrolets, mission accomplished. They all come out in one group.
Now here come the Toyotas.
4 Toyotas in this race. Here they all are at lap 24. Hamlin, Truex, Bell, Suarez.
Oh, a little bit of contact there between the 95 and the 19. Truex is not in his pit box. Regan.
Junior completely misses his pit box. We see him having to back up to get back to it. He predicted his car would be very good on old tires. Looks like they're going to stick with the plan and go with no tires, fuel only with this race car. Jamie?
And the 95, Christopher Bell, first ever pit stop there in a Cup car. You see, here's the replay. The 95, they are, in a bump by Christopher Bell. Didn't expect the 19 of Truex to check up like he did. Remember, this is Christopher Bell's first pit stop in a Cup car. There it is. Both, in essence, Toyota teammates there. Looks like very little damage as you see Christopher Bell try to hit his marks to pull in the box and make it a fuel stop and wipe the grill.
So at lap 25, Quinn Houff and Chad Fincham, 1 or 2 laps down, have made a stop. The Fords have yet to pit. Let's check with Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, guys, you saw all these guys running right against the wall. As soon as the Chevys pulled off the pit, the Fords then went to the bottom. They're running about 3/4 of a second faster than they were up against the wall. I think they're going to stay out for a little while here. They're going to build a little bit of a gap. After they pit, then they'll be in their own race.
Yeah, Jamie, one of the strategies you can use here is to see if others make mistakes. We know how aggressive you got to be to get to pit road. You can miss a shift, wheel hop, maybe lose control. We've seen that happen under Green, so I wonder if they were seeing those other pit stops play out first.
44.37, the last lap for leader Clint Boyer. He's the quickest car on the racetrack right now as we go Fox side by side.
The sports world is buzzing about the XFL.
Absolutely tremendous. It's XFL football, man.
The spring football millions of fans have always wanted.
Big hit.
Is finally here to stay.
Into the end zone. Touchdown.
And this week should be even better.
That was gorgeous.
Tampa Bay, Seattle, Saturday at 5 Eastern on Fox. Download the Fox Sports Super 6 app today and lock in your free XFL picks for a chance to win cash prizes.
Ever since we moved here, I've been noticing it. I think the house is changing him.
Up and at him.
Into his father. Is it scary?
It's in eco mode, so don't touch it. I can't stop this from swinging. There must be a draft in here.
But he did save a bunch of money bundling our home and auto with Progressive.
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
Hello.
Sorry, honey.
Butt dial.
Hey guys, if you're experiencing erectile dysfunction, you can now get treated anywhere. Like here, 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 even here. Okay, maybe not there. That's why we built Roman. So it's easy to get ED meds prescribed online, delivered to your door. Just visit GetRoman.com, chat with a U.S. licensed physician, and if treatment is right for you, you'll get genuine medication delivered in discreet packaging. Roman, Let's take care of it. Get started with your free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV.
When it comes to America's most loved pizza, love is limitless. At Marco's, enjoy unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. You could order just one, but why limit yourself? Hello to America's most loved pizza. Hello, Marco's.
I'm a party, and everyone's invited. The young, the old, the known, and even the future.
Stewart freezes, wins!
I am up late, and I am going to keep going until someone drinks some champagne. I am a wild ride, so you better strap in. I am the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. I am NASCAR.
Hey, Mitchell. Copy that.
The Undertaker is here! The dead man has risen!
An absolute heartbreaker in turn 4 for Daniel Suarez. His Toyota had to race its way into the 500. And as he got lapped by the lead pack, and then the Fords decided to come to pit road, contact between he and Ryan Blaney.
I was just talking about, being aggressive, getting to pit road. You could see they tried to go to the outside of Daniel Suarez. Oh, Suarez had to go up to miss Keselowski and made heavy contact with the 12 of Ryan Blaney.
Didn't look like Blaney was part of that group that was going to pit because that inside lane was fill up.
Yeah, there was no way Blaney was going to be able to make it to pit road there. But what's the impact of this now for Daniel Suarez being one of those open cars? Had to race his way in. So I just wonder, was Blaney going to try to maybe sneak to the outside or in that gap between the 17 and the 2? I don't see how that was going to be possible. He had to have known that Suarez has already made his pit stop.
But he also knew he had Ryan Newman on his outside. Couldn't get any further to the right. Newman was there.
I gotta say, this strategy was looking as if it was going to work out incredible for the Fords because they had made up so much time being in a large, fast pack on the rest of the field.
Here's Daniel Suarez radio.
How did you know they were going to pit? I got here when they were going down the backstretch that they were going in that time. Come on, man. We have to prove the communication. I don't think they were going to pit.
I mean, I think he's, a little frustrated and rightfully so, but at the same time, I don't know if there's a lot he would have done different. Maybe he would have checked up and gotten in behind the 6 of Newman, but right here, he as the 2 of Keselowski starts to slow down. Yeah, he goes to the outside, but he would have done that kind of anyway. I just feel like maybe he thinks that he could have avoided that contact to the 12 of Ryan Blaney had he known they were all pitting.
2 cars stayed on the racetrack. You saw Ryan Newman go by. So did rookie John Hunter Nemechek, who leads this race. The rest of the Fords, 5 of them, all pitted on lap 30.
And Mike, there used to be hand signals that you made when you were pitting, but we've seen where strategies become so important in holding on to those cards that we've seen where they have sort of a code of when they're going to come to pit road. So I just wonder, maybe some of those drivers were not putting their hands out the window to signal to Daniel Suarez.
Damage to Ryan Blaney's car, and Suarez has already walked away from his car that they're going to load up. Tough night for Gaunt Brothers Racing trying to make the 500. Daniel Suarez and Ryan Blaney get tangled up. Under caution for a 2-car crash as cars were entering pit road, Ryan Blaney and Daniel Suarez. Blaney repaired and continued. And Suarez out of race, and that means out of the Daytona 500. Working on sorting out whether pit road was open at the time some of those Ford drivers made those stops once the caution flag came out.
Here we got John Hunter Nemechek and Ryan Newman, who did not stop. But then those that did come to pit road, that caution came out. We're pretty sure a few of them were not on pit road when the caution came out and pit road was closed.
So he is holding up so they can get scoring straightened out here on the back straightaway. We're told he owes them a lap. He was not the race leader at that instant of caution, so we'll sort this out here in a minute as we listen to Denny Hamlin's radio.
It was like I had a flat tire again. I'm sideways, and we're not really balance free in that scenario, or it feels like something's loose right there. A little bit of both. Like it feels like the sensation of movement in the back makes me feel loose. Yeah, got you.
That's never good.
No. All right, we're going to take a look at Joey Logano as he was coming to pit road and see when is the moment of caution. That's Eric Almirola in front of him, Clint Boyer in front of him. We're under green here.
And you can see right there is that pit entry light. Right now it's green. Right there it goes red. So none of these drivers that hit pit road made it. I thought maybe one of them did, but none of them actually did.
So in this case, if you come down pit road, you must continue on without service in order to avoid a penalty. There's the red light on the right of your screen. And here comes everybody. So next question is, who got service after stopping too soon?
And at that point, as a driver, you see the red light, you know there's an incident, and you're committed. There's no way you can avoid coming onto pit road.
We have questions. Larry Mack has answers.
Yeah, Mike, of those four drivers, the ones that went ahead and completed service was Clint Boyer in the 14 and Chris Buescher in the 17. Their penalty should be tail end of the longest line. I think the ones that went ahead and drove down pit road and did not stop, they'll be fine. It's just Buescher and Boyer that will have to go to the tail end of the longest line.
Thanks, Larry. Let's check with Regan.
Well, certainly not the interview that we wanted to have this early at the Advent Healthcare Center. Daniel, talk me through what happened there. Obviously, the Ford cars were pitting and then contact between you and the 12.
Well, I would like to see a replay first, but really these guys, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, the two car, he started getting his hand out of the window super late, and I didn't see him, and when I started going out, the 12 was there. So I don't know, man, I'm getting tired of this.
Frustrating, I know. Better luck next week when we get to the next race. Thanks.
Well, you can hear right there the frustration. I mean, it's the Daytona 500. You know, he's had a lot of changes over the offseason. The last couple of years haven't gone exactly the way he wanted to. He wanted to be in this Daytona 500 desperately. Not going to happen.
So Ryan Newman, John Hunter Nemechek, and the rest of those Fords will now come in to make their pit stops, along with most of the field. And this time we're getting tires under caution.
Now you really have nothing to lose. You might as well go ahead, put some fresh rubber on there, and maybe have a little bit better handling race car. Jamie?
And Denny Hamlin, you heard his radio saying something is definitely not right with the rear end of that car. It just feels really loose, especially when being pushed. So the call from Chris Gabehart, you see the guys going underneath the car in the rear end, seeing if they see anything that stands out. But he wanted to take 4 tires and fuel. May as well. See how the car handles with 4 tires. They gave him a drink. They're trying to get that. They're having a problem with the window net right now.
Thanks, Jamie. We're hearing on Ryan Blaney's radio that he did not know the rest of the Fords were pitting, and that is likely what led to the confusion and this crash that has knocked Daniel Suarez out of the 500. It's all about communication. Here is Ryan Blaney's radio after that incident.
Everyone else on the bottom pitted, so they knew what was going on, and I guess they couldn't see hands, but no, we got to I got to get that to me somehow better. We didn't have it here in the box. Somehow we missed it. It didn't show up in our chat.
So the Ford team's using a group chat to communicate when they were going to pit, and Todd Gordon didn't have it.
And that's why you don't hear it on the radio, but that's also why that communication has to be flawless, or you can miss it and cause something like just happened as they tried to get to pit road. Back to green.
Martin Truex took the wave around to get back on the lead lap. 18 lead lap cars. Quinn Houff 1 lap down. Chad Fitchum, Joey Gase 2 laps down. Daniel Suarez in the garage, and Ricky Stenhouse back out front.
And you can see he did that same thing he did at the start of this race, starting in the outside lane, got ahead of Chase Elliott right down in front of him. But look at this huge push coming down on the outside with Joey Logano and Eric Almirola locking bumpers. Over 200 miles per hour. It's amazing how much of a surge you get in speed when you get locked together like those two just were.
New leader, Logano.
And look how the momentum in that outside lane surged ahead and continues on. Little work now left to do for those guys on the inside lane to get back up there side by side with them.
Note the Stenhouse crew got that grill all cleaned off.
And also, I think it's a good thing to note, the 12 car is still in this thing. They fixed the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Unfortunately, we're very unfortunate for Suarez to have the damage he did, but the 12 of Ryan Blaney still right in the thick of it.
Now, those cars are locked into the Daytona 500. This is all about where they will start. And they'll start according to their finish in these two duels.
Now, this is making Brian Patty really nervous right now, because that 47 car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. lead this race, which look at the speed that car has. All it took was a little bit of a push from behind by Chase Elliott. He goes straight to the front. Now they're 3 wide, a little bit further back. Rookie Christopher Bell on the outside as Austin Dillon, as well as Ryan Preece, come through the middle. And now Denny Hamlin's going to leave out Christopher Bell and go to the middle also. But I got to believe you saw the car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wiggle a little bit. That's going to make the Polster pretty nervous. And now here's another battle for the lead.
On the outside, the Fords, Logano and Almirola. Stenhouse, a little breathing room there from Chase Elliott. Tries to side draft. Gain a little bit coming back to the line, but Logano will lead this lap by a car length.
And we saw where Chase Elliott gave a nice push to the 47 to Stenhouse to get him the lead, but it just doesn't look like he's able to stay as tight to that rear bumper like we're seeing Almirola right here, the rear bumper of Joey Logano. Look at the gap back to the 9 of Chase Elliott. Look how he can't get any closer to that. If you want that inside lane to move, those cars have to close up, and now the outside lane is starting to form very quickly.
Here goes Ryan Preece in 4th place on the outside. That is Stenhouse's teammate.
Austin Dillon moves down to that inside lane. Now, when I've got the car that I know is a fast race car, has led this race, and is going to be starting from the pole to see the green flag on Sunday for the Daytona 500, I am extremely nervous right now. Nice job by that inside lane.
A lot of jockeying. Chase might have gotten a big bump from Ryan Newman there.
And see how the 47 Stenhouse is able to get right to that rear bumper and surge this inside lane back to the front.
Jeff, what you can learn in this duel, you can't learn in practice Friday and Saturday, can you?
I mean, the conditions are a little bit different. We're going to see in the Daytona 500 because this is at night. The track is cooler, but you have to get in these conditions. You're never going to see anything like this in practice because you'll never have a group of cars that are this committed to it as well as stacked up like this.
And that's why Ricky Stenhouse, the 500 pole sitter, is still out there. If I were Brian Patty, if I'm not out front, I want that car in the garage.
Well, I mean, if he can get through this, he's going to learn so much about the Daytona 500, what he has to do to be able to keep that car out front. Pretty impressed with what Austin Dillon has done in that inside lane to pull some of those Chevrolets behind him to the front and break up that outside lane.
Well, 3 Chevys at the front, and as far as the push me, pull you of bump drafting, don't seem to be any of the issues that we saw with last year's car.
It's still clear.
Pretty nice job of them moving to that outside lane, pick up the 22. Now, Yeah, we've talked about those front bumpers. Right now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. having no problems. You can see it's a little bit more rounded. It's not as pointed as the car that they had in 2019. And that's allowing these guys to be a little more aggressive with the pushing.
Ford's on the bottom now. Logano, Almirola, Newman. Brad Keselowski right with them.
You see Stenhouse. I love how aggressive he's being with this car because he's down there side drafting. He's getting to the rear bumper of the three of Austin Dillon, pushing him. Now, I think one of the reasons why Stenhouse is doing that, not only is he trying to fill out the car in the draft right now, he does not want to get any further back in this field. He really wants to stay up front. That's what's going to keep him in this race. Denny Hamlin making a pretty aggressive move to the inside. I thought we were going to see contact between the 9 of Chase Elliott and Denny, but Denny just squeezed right into a gap that really wasn't there.
15 laps to go in the first of 2 duels.
Mike, I don't know about you, but this race has been far more intense and more action than I anticipated. I really thought these guys were going to take it easy.
Jeff, you and I have been listening to it all day. Oh, after Sunday night, they're just going to go out there and ride around single file. Not a chance. With an outside lane led by Hamlin backed way up in that back straightaway. Not sure what might have happened coming off turn number 2, but Hamlin's dropped back to 11th.
Yeah, now it's a numbers game. Now, you look how many cars are lined up on that inside lane versus how many are in the outside lane. You've got 4 cars. No way 4 cars are going to be able to find their way all the way to the front of this. They need more cars to get in line with them.
Larry, what about Ricky Stenhouse in 7th?
Well, what's impressive about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that 47 car, Mike, remember, the Chevrolet teams and the Toyota teams came to pit road under green, and they all did fuel only. When that caution came out, everybody but Stenhouse in the 47, Chase Elliott in the 9, Truex in the 19, everybody else came and got 4 fresh tires. He's out there on 30-lap more tires than anybody else.
Wow. Bubba Wallace looking like Pac-Man trying to chop his way through the field here.
Well, there was a move by the 3 car. Remember, there's a bit of an alliance there between Richard Petty Motorsports and Richard Childress Racing. And the 3 car of Austin Dillon went to the outside. I think Bubba tried to get up either in front of him or with him, and he just wasn't able to get there fast enough, and those cars started getting, the 11 of Denny Hamlin got to his outside.
How about the rookie, John Hunter Nemechek, in the 38, right? Leading that second group on the inside. Boy, if he had butterflies when this started, how about now?
Well, now he's in the groove. Now what he's in focus mode. He's got a feel for how the cars are driving. He's like, you know what? I got a good race car here. I can do this. Let's go learn something.
Doing a great job for front row there in 8th place.
For those lead cars, Mike, that are in line on the bottom, except for Denny Hamlin, we know he never takes a breath. He always makes a bold move, just like he did right there. But those other guys, this is a time to take a breath. Get a feel for your car. What's the balance like? How can I materialize a run? They're trying to set themselves up for what's going to happen with a few laps to go in this race, because I promise you, they're not going to just sit there in line.
Look who has quietly climbed the ladder to 4th place, Brad Keselowski. In the deuce.
It's been a bit of a tough beginning to speed weeks. We've seen already some frustration you wouldn't normally see out of Brad Keselowski like we saw in the Clash. So this is a nice, solid run for Brad, and this is exactly what he's looking for to get himself ready, not only for the finish of this race, but for Sunday's Daytona 500.
Fords in 1st through 6th as they come around for 10 to go. Laps to go this time. That sounds like a nice round number. How about a nice round Fox crank it up?
Oh, yeah.
Coming. Here we go. 4 guys are jumping out back to our lane. 919 with us on our line now. Outside, it's going to be a small hole. Close, still there, still there. Outside. Outside, to be clear behind the 9, quick. The top here, middle with no help. Middle with no help. Here comes the 9, 2 back trying to get to you. High, clear high, just inside. 9 to go. Roll tight. Roll tight. We'll get you a gap here. Be ready. Still out there. Way up. Outside. Quarter in front and rolling. Half out outside. Outside to be clear right there. Clear to the top. Clear. Clear.
16 cars separated by less than a second, and Denny Hamlin wants to be the straw that stirs this drink.
I love the fact that Denny Hamlin just never settles. You know, unless he's out front leading, he is going to make a move. Watch Denny Hamlin as he closes up right here to the rear bumper of the 43. Now he's going to go to the inside and make it 3 wide. You know, what I see Denny does so well is you see a big moment behind him in Austin Dillon, but Denny, when he gets a run, he just lets that momentum ride and just takes it as far as it'll go.
7 to go this time by. At 200 miles an hour. Remember our Fox football field, 100 yards on the tri-oval?
I do.
How long does it take to traverse 100 yards at 200 miles an hour?
I'd say about a second.
Football field a second.
That's fast. That's real fast. Puts a lot of things in perspective. And these guys are wheeling this thing. I mean, you saw all the bump drafting going on all at 200 miles per hour.
Now on the inside, Reed Sorensen just got lapped. He is in the race in position. Now Chad Fincham is 2 laps down. See if Sorensen can maintain pace in that 27 and race his way into the Daytona 500.
Well, he's got quite a field bearing down on him. Pretty nice group starting to form. I mean, those are 3 really strong race cars. You got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott. I still think the numbers are with the outside. They need a couple more cars. I think they have fast enough cars they can work tightly in a group and get a couple more cars. They'll make some ground. You saw right there, the 47 of Stenhouse has a fast race car. A little side drafting. That just really helps you maintain your position on the straightaways. You pull back that car by side drafting them, then you go to the bottom and run the shorter line. That helps you even pull closer to that outside line.
Let's listen to Stenhouse's radio here.
Coming to 7 to go. 5 to go, right?
Well, they got
5 to go, 5 to go.
One more to join him, and Christopher Bell.
Now 1 off the 11. 11, 2 back. 2 back, got the 9, half off of him, 95 pushing the 9. 11 coming back to you, half rolling to you. On you tight.
Oh, that's going to get them quite a ways further up to that 22 of Joey Logano. Look at that push. That's all it takes is one push like that from Denny Hamlin. And the 47 of Stenhouse side by side for the lead.
Spotter Frank Daney Jr. For Ricky Stenhouse, crew chief Brian Patty on the box, watching his pole-sitting 500 driver. Said he was going to try to lead every lap and win this.
Well, now he's just trying to lead the right one, which is going to be the last one here in about 4 laps. And we've seen a couple more cars have joined that inside lane.
Which lane do you like?
Well, I still like, if I'm Joey Logano, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I got a good pusher in Eric Almirola, and I've got the most cars behind me. What do you think, Jamie? That inside lane's got, what, 4 or 5 cars?
I want to be in whatever lane Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in right now because his car is really fast. I think that, look, I think that Eric Almirola is going to stick with the 22, so I'm going to take the outside lane.
4 to go. And around the speedway, the drivers who will compete in the second duel watching this carefully. See if it's a precursor of what's to come.
Yeah, right now, if they're talking as a group of drivers, they're going, hey, guys, how about we go get in line? Because that looked a little hairy. And it's been fun for us to watch.
Another aggressive push.
And another aggressive side draft by the 22 of Joey Logano.
Two to go, and you've got Stenhouse and Logano. Irresistible force, an immovable object, and then you got Hamlin right in it.
Yeah, I mean, these are probably 3 of the most aggressive drivers on the super speedways. Now you got Stenhouse breaks free of this. He can pick which lane he wants to try to block, but he really likes Denny Hamlin as a pusher and doesn't move up to try to block that 22. Boy, those two got locked together, Amarola and the 22 of Logano.
Stenhouse edges ahead. Starter has the white flag in hand. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Stenhouse, no help now.
And that inside lane broke up a little bit. A couple of cars went 3 wide further back, and you could see how the momentum just shifts immediately to that outside lane.
And that may be the difference. Almirola stayed with Logano, while Stenhouse came all the way through the tri-oval and back to turn 1 with no help.
And this huge run coming from Ryan Newman. Is he going to do anything with it, or is he just going to get to the rear bumper of the 10 of Almirola? No, he just gets to the rear bumper. Now a big run's going to come from Almirola. There goes Newman to the outside. And where did Austin Dillon come from on the inside?
Off turn 4 for the final time.
Woo!
Joey Logano trying to hold them all off to win his duel at Daytona by 3 car lengths.
And what a save by Austin Dillon that almost took out a bunch of race cars.
Two years in a row, Joey Logano wins his duel. There's his new crew chief, Paul Wolfe. Logano led 19 laps to give Team Penske their 5th duel win, 1 in each of the last 3 seasons. And Ford has now won 4 of the last 5 duels. Well, Ricky Stenhouse got out of town on this final lap. Let's watch it unfold.
You can see all this unfold coming down the back straight with his 6 of Newman, gets to the rear bumper of the 10, then he goes to the outside. And when he does that, it really gives Joey Logano the race. Those two get side by side and stall out. Now it's about these guys further back, just trying to get themselves positioned to get as good a position or starting position for the 500. Look at Bubba Wallace on the inside, getting a nice top 5.
And Keselowski finds a good spot there in 4th, ahead of Bubba Wallace. Eric Almirola, the runner-up.
And Stenhouse in the middle of all that mess.
Without a mark on his car.
and now he's able to breathe, or at least Brian Patty is.
Yes. Where's Stenhouse? There he goes. Way on the inside, 3 wide. 15 cars covered by 3/4 of a second at the checkered flag.